Are you unsure of what house rules you should put in place for your short-term rental?
On today's video, we're going to talk about the importance of setting clear house rules for your guests and how you can make sure they actually follow the rules that you're setting.
Make sure to watch until the end to hear the most important thing that you definitely should not be doing as a host.
Now, letting strangers in and out of your home can be really stressful, right? Because you're not sure if they're going to respect your property and hopefully, they're not gonna cause any damage or upset your neighbors.
So it's 100% necessary and appropriate to set house rules for your guests. Guests even expect to see the house rules in your listing.
Now, house rules are super important because it's a great way to screen guests before they book, and they're also helpful in case there's any major issues with the guests during their stay. And if you need to get Airbnb involved, having your house rules clearly defined will help you in your case. Platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo, they offer up some suggested house rules when you're creating your listing, but it's also important for you to think of some that are important to you. Now, here are some examples of some common house rules that many Airbnb hosts include in their listing pages. One could be no loud noise after a certain time, no food or drinks in the bedrooms, no parties or events, no smoking inside, maybe no pets.
Like Tony said, the sky's the limit and you can add as many or as little rules as you want, but just remember that an intense list of rules can be an instant turnoff for potential guests. Now, that doesn't mean that they're bad guests or they plan to throw a rager or something, but a long list of rules can just give off kind of like that vibe that the host might be kind of difficult to deal with, or that they're gonna be super strict where you'll have to be tense the whole trip, making sure that you're not breaking one of the 30 rules.
Oh, I see. You're trying to freak me out.
So we definitely recommend you keep your list of house rules somewhere between 3 and 5. And Airbnb even has their own suggestions on house rules, and their suggestion is you keep them simple and specific and that you don't leave any room for interpretation.
For example, our rules are number 1, no parties or events. Number 2, no smoking inside the property. Keyword there is inside. Number 3 is no pets. And again, this rule only applies to some of our properties.
Number 4 is that there's no loud noise past 9 p.m. Again, this really only applies to some properties that have neighbors really close by. And then number 5 is that our age requirement to book is 25 across all of our properties. Now, every property and every owner is different, and you have the right to set as many or as crazy rules as you want. But it's really important to remember that you want to be able to balance between protecting your property, but still making sure that people are encouraged to book your listing, because if there's too many, you're going to scare people away. So you really want to set rules that give a clear expectation for your guests, right? That, hey, here's the behavior that I as the host expect from you as the guest. But you also want to make sure that your rules come across as being kind of sincere and really trying to give your guests a world-class and just overall positive experience.
People traveling are looking for a fun, relaxing getaway, not a long list of do's and don'ts. So like Airbnb recommends, just try to be concise, direct, and welcoming at the same time. Another great idea on what we do is to include the less important rules in your digital guidebook instead of on the actual listing. So let's say if you have a house rule of no jumping on the beds or no food or drinks in the bedroom, that's kind of a lower level kind of rule that can just be listed inside the guidebook instead of the actual listing.
Now, before we keep moving, we really appreciate it if you could give us a thumbs up on this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the little bell for notifications. And also, we put together a really simple, easy to use Airbnb property startup checklist. And if you're interested in getting that, head over to alphageekcapital.com/checklist to get your free copy today.
Lastly, be sure to connect with us on Instagram. I'm at Sarah Rad and he's at Tony J. Robinson.
Okay, so now that we've kind of gone through what the rules are that you should be including in your listing, now let's talk about how to actually enforce those rules. Now, the first way to enforce your rules is to make sure you communicate these, not just in your listing, but over and over and over again, right? You want to send them in messages. You also want to include them in your digital guidebook. The more times your guests can see these, reasonable house rules, the more likely they are to, follow them.
Number 2 is to make sure you have a security camera at the front of your property so you can check the camera feed as needed.
Yeah, if there ever is a situation where a guest breaks one of your house rules, say maybe they brought 80 people instead of 2 people, that threw a big party at your house, you could use the camera footage to help back up your claims that they broke your house rule. Tip number 3 is to become friends with your neighbors and even exchange telephone numbers with them so they can keep an eye on your property and kind of communicate if anything seems off. Whenever we go into a new neighborhood, we always kind of shake hands with the neighbors, try and meet them, and most of the time they're pretty friendly.
Hello, dear. I'm Agnes, your neighbor to the right. My right, not yours.
And number 4 is to make sure your cleaning team is aware of these house rules so that they can communicate to you if and when these house rules have been broken by the guests.
And that's it. Those are pretty much the best ways we think to try and enforce your house rules. The mindset as a host should be that, you do need to have a little bit of faith that there are good people in the world that want to take good care of your property, but also be mentally prepared to experience the not so good people as well.
Because they are out there and they will find your place and they will book it. Now let's talk about what you definitely should not be doing as the host.
You should not be checking your cameras all day, every single day, right? We've seen lots of people post that they check their cameras every couple of minutes, seeing what the guests are doing, why they're doing this, what's happening. You gotta remember, people on vacation, right? They're gonna have fun, they're gonna live their lives. And if you're watching the camera, trying to watch their every single move, you're going to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, and worst of all, it's creepy. Do not be that creepy host that is stalking your guests.
We even saw one of, another Airbnb host post in one of the Facebook groups that we're a part of that they were watching their cameras.
That was pointed to their pool, so
Right.
It wasn't at the front of the property, number 1.
But anyway, they saw the guest, and I guess they saw the guest putting on what they felt was too much sunscreen lotion. And then when they jumped into the pool, they saw the sunscreen lotion coming off into their pool. And I guess the host was upset because they said it's not good for the pool water.
Yeah.
And they posted in this group, how should I confront this guest about the amount of sunscreen that they applied? So, I'm sure that this host had good intentions, right? We're not making fun of him, but we're also saying like, why put yourself through that kind of stress? Okay, so your cameras are there to help you when you need them, not to drive yourself crazy by watching how much sunscreen lotion your guests are putting on when they get into the pool.
So that's it. That's how we manage our house rules for our properties. And we'd love to hear what your house rules are and how you enforce them. So make sure to drop a comment below and let us know.
If you guys want to become an Airbnb host yourself, hit the link in our description. We've got a referral link for you guys. If you sign up using our referral code, you guys get a little cash bonus from Airbnb. We get a little something as well, so it's a win-win for both of us. So that's it for today, guys. We hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And we are
The Real Estate Robinsons.